That's Kat.
That's Ian.
And this is 404.
Script not found.
That's perfect. Like a terrible voice message. I love it.
Wow.
Catherine, how we doing?
I am more concerned about how you're doing, Ian. Because I'm doing good. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Producer Lauren just heard this rant already. I'm glad we had therapy yesterday, you and I, because my therapy session last night was a waste of time, and I'm still upset about it.
Oh,
18
was she
hours
talking
later.
about herself again?
No, we talked about nothing. And she said early on she didn't feel well and she had brain fog. And instead of just being like, maybe telling me ahead of time, let's reschedule this because I'm not doing great today, she proceeded to waste 48 minutes of like just acknowledging things that I wanted to talk about and then like, yeah, we can talk about that. Yep, I can help with that. And me being like, okay, let's do that. And her flipping through a book and being like, well, do you want to do this or that? 48 minutes. And then we settled on something and she goes, we don't really have time to get into this actually.
Oh, that would send me to the moon.
I might need a therapist to vent about my therapist.
You're done with this one though, aren't you? Wasn't that your last session?
So she's like trying to not be done. I have next week and then I'm gone for 6 weeks. She was like, oh, let's schedule for what date you're back. And I was like, let's not.
Wait, she's in person?
Yeah.
That's tough.
So I'm going to need help. I know you've done a podcast on this on your own on how to break up with your therapist. I might have to go listen to that.
Yeah, you just have to say it's not me, it's you. It's not working. But it's literally
We want
just
different
tiring.
things from this relationship.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're not getting what you need out of it, it's not a relationship. You literally pay this person. You just say,
I didn't get any money's worth yesterday.
Yeah, I hate therapy that feels like nothing came out of it. I hate it.
I was furious. And she knew. She, at the end, she was like, do you think today was helpful? And I was like, no.
Did you say that?
I was like, not really. Like, I was like, we didn't really talk about anything. And she was like, I know, I'm sorry. It wasn't a good day for me. And I was like, I mean, it's fine. Like, we have a plan for next week. But I was like, today just really wasn't helpful.
Oh my God. I'm trying to imagine how I would respond to that if you said that.
Yeah, she didn't really say anything. I just walked out.
That is crazy to be like sick a little bit and keep an in-person therapy session. Like virtual.
Yeah, just tell me you don't feel good.
Yeah. You can fake it virtual, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and she kept saying it. I was like, I just kept like scooting further back on the couch. I was like, okay, well, you stay over there.
I've never done in-person therapy. Do you like lay down? Like
no, I sit on like a couch. It's an awkwardly deep couch. So I'm so glad we're talking about this because I haven't told anyone this. It's an awkwardly deep couch where I can't like put my back against the couch unless my legs go up and then I feel like a 5-year-old.
Yesterday, Ian and I talked about things that I don't think men should be allowed to do. Men's feet should be on the floor at all times.
So in this instance, I will agree with you.
Yeah. Y'all's feet should always be planted. They're never dangling, never hovering. The feet must be on the floor. And I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. So it's just like it's an awkward couch. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a scientific therapy reason for that it like makes you sit forward and be more. I don't know. But
she wants you off guard.
Maybe, yeah.
So you can't run out at any given moment. You have to carefully hop off the couch.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
on
an
that
uncomfortably deep couch.
There's no way to segue this, but we're talking about career-limiting moves today.
Yeah, I think this is one of them. And there's going to be some like fun ones and some maybe like actually beneficial ones. But I think like having inappropriate discussions at work is probably a career-limiting move.
Wait, do you think talking about therapy is an inappropriate discussion?
No, I think maybe ranting about my therapist on a podcast isn't my best look. I don't think she listens though.
Maybe ranting about your therapist on your company's corporate podcast, maybe.
You're not wrong.
Hey, that's neither here nor there. I did a little research. I also did a little, what have I possibly done? And a little self-reflection in this. And
I think we both have a story.
I want you to do yours first, because then I'll feel more comfortable sharing mine.
All right. So we'll start, like, I would say the topic or guidance around mine is that you shouldn't talk bad about coworkers, especially on corporate chat platforms. And I know that might sound obvious, but let's go back 13 years.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not calling you old. I'm not.
Nope, you don't have to tell me where you are in life.
I'm fighting it.
You and your backpack without a driver's license, that's fine.
I mean, that's accurate.
I know. Yeah, so I worked at a company and which we'll start with this. They use GChat, which is like doesn't even exist anymore as like their corporate chat platform. It's like Google's chat thing that's like tied to it used to be tied to Gmail. It still is. If you like open Gmail, there's a little chat functionality on the left-hand side. But it used to be a pop out like its own app that they had. So this company didn't pay for corporate chat. It was pre-Slack and pre-WebEx and pre-Microsoft Teams and all those. So there was rumors of like a layoff that was going to happen at this company. And I was upset because I was newer, but I was a high performer, I felt like, for being new in career, new in this role. And I shared an office with a coworker and I chatted them because I didn't want to say this out loud because that felt worse.
Put it
And
in writing.
I
Make
went
it
to
better.
chat them that if this person, another person in the company who I didn't feel was overly competent, if they were to be saved and I was to be impacted by this layoff, that I would print out every document and every example of their incompetence I had and drop it on HR's desk. And GChat back in the day, Kat, if someone chatted you, their message would pop up to the front window on your screen. And the exact person that I was talking about chatted me about 2 words into my rant. So I sent them a rant about them to them. And upon realizing they wrote back, "What?" And upon seeing that response and assessing the situation of what I had just done, I panicked. And this was back in the day of like desktop computers, and we had a tower that sat under my desk. And I didn't know what to do, and I just turned off the computer. I reached down and turned the power button on the tower off. And the person I shared an office with asked me what I was doing, and I told her the story, and she goes, "That's not going to help." And I said, "I am aware, thank you."
I just can't deal with it right now.
So it was a bad look. It fortunately was not career limiting, but it definitely could have been and probably should have been. I would say definitely should have been. But yeah, so I think malicious gossip or talking bad about coworkers in general is a bad thing to be doing. And you never know who you're talking to. And my general rule of thumb, as I've grown in my career, and I tell people this when I hire them or when I work with them, every day is an interview. You'll never know who you're meeting or interacting with and what impact they will have in your career in the future. So you should treat every day and every interaction like it's an interview.
Ian, that's a great tip.
Thank you.
The juxtaposition of you today versus you yesterday is crazy. It's wild.
I'm a new man. 13 years later, 1 day later. Big changes.
Wow. It is called growth. Thank you, Alex. And on this, I would like to say WebEx would never do that to us.
No. Facts.
Would never.
It's very, very organized. It would never pop open anyone else's chat. Secure platform.
My career limiting action that I'm nervous to speak on.
Do you have give me like a theme here? What's the lesson learned? Like we can start with like a lesson learned.
All right, lesson learned is I don't think you should be the life of the party at any work function.
Couldn't agree more.
You should fly under the radar. You don't need to be memorable. They need to be like, was she there? Were they there? I don't remember.
Do you want to know what's the life advice here?
What's the life advice?
It's Jim Halpert in The Office. It's when he goes to the party, Robert California throws the party at his house.
Yes.
You show up, you make a funny joke, you take a picture, and you leave.
Yes. 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 And my first year out post-grad, I was 21, okay? I was 21. I thought you needed to be the life of the party because, like, that's how you make the most friends. So I was ready.
This is already the least surprising story.
I thought that was the case. And it's not even, I wasn't drinking a ton. Maybe I was. I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Who knows?
But I found myself at my company holiday party. I was so excited. This was obviously pre-COVID. Holiday parties were all the rage. And there was an elevated DJ booth. And I thought, you know what my CEO would think is so cool? If I get in that DJ booth and I shout him out. I think he'll think that's awesome. So I did it and I got up there. You know, it was a laugh, but it was a laugh that followed me until I left that industry, quite frankly. So now, luckily, I no longer work in staffing solutions.
I didn't know it was staffing. I feel like that's on brand for a staffing industry
It was
party.
a bit like, it was definitely a bit more allowed, probably. Like, there's no world that I'm doing that ever again in my life, but
I know this is a tariff, and we don't like we hate places that say work hard, play hard. I feel like that's the staffing industry, though.
oh my god, it was crazy. That was such an interesting way to come out of college. It was such a
I almost did it.
yeah, I can't
Yeah,
recommend it less. I hope
yeah.
for some reason my old coworkers are listening to this. That was trauma and, like, terrible. I can't even think about it. But all that to say, I don't think you should ever be the loudest one at the party. I don't think honestly, hot take, I don't drink a ton at work
Same.
functions. I don't even, like, drink in general sometimes, soda water and lime, you have no idea. And if you just go up here's my hot tip for not drinking at places. So you go up to the bartender, you say, "Hey, can I have a soda water with a lime? I'm not drinking." And they're like, "Oh yeah, of course." You give them $10, like tip them on it, and then they act like they remember your order and you don't have to ask over and over again when you
Pretty
go to the
good.
bar. Yeah. So then whenever you go up with the group, you'll be like, "Oh, you got me, right?" And then they know and it looks like you're having a tequila soda. No, soda water with a lime. So that's my hot tip.
That's a tip.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm very on that. I am very guarded about who I will have a drink with or like I mean my consumption in general. I am a big soda water and lime person. Like if my boss is like we're meeting up for a drink, that's fine. That's like a, hey, we're on equal footing here. If I'm out with like my team, it's one and done. You and I shared a drink in San Diego, that was one and done. So yeah, I think it's just you don't ever want to be the last, not only the loudest or the last person at the party.
Loudest, last person, drunkest. If you're slurring your words, what does corporate Natalie say? You should have left 45 minutes ago. Yeah, that shouldn't happen. And I do think people remember that because the people who are ahead in their career are the ones who are with it, sober, clear-minded at these functions. So unfortunately, they're remembering everything you did.
Agreed.
So that was my biggest lesson, and now something I don't do anymore. Your turn.
Yeah, I'm violating my next one right now actively, but I think it's dressing professionally even when you're remote.
Okay, love
I'm
that. As I
wearing a
wore my
hat right
gray
now. For
hoodie.
those of you
Yeah.
who are listening to this episode and not watching us on YouTube, go watch us on YouTube. We're better there.
Nice plug.
I think even remote, and it's very easy to fall into the trap in remote. I have a hat on right now, but I also do have real pants on. I have a real shirt on. Like you should dress professionally as if you were going out in front of people every day. I will not wear a hat if I have an external meeting. That's a rule I have. I will get ready and put on a collared shirt if I have external meetings that day. So that's how you know. But I think it's the number one thing where it's like, again, it falls in my first every day's interview. You are creating a brand for yourself on your, who you are, and you don't have as many like reps as in person of like Ian dresses so well or whatever. You only have that like shoulders up, and that is all they can see and all you are. And so it's just like showing up with your best self every day, even aesthetically. And then also it's just I don't want to be the person who like when I stand up on a call to like let my dog out, like, oh, Ian has orange gym shorts on. That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. I can't imagine.
Well, I don't do that.
Yeah, I also feel lucky I, like, rarely have to stand up on calls. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen below my shoulders.
Yeah, someone commented the other day I had shorts on, and they commented that was the first time they've ever seen my knees, and I got very uncomfortable.
I don't like that at
Yeah.
all. I think this is also
I've
something
worn pants every day since, for the
yeah,
record.
please God. Another thing that men can't do, have knees. Tired of that. No knees for the men. But I think this is something that can be really easy to optimize and do. I think specifically for women, I keep a blazer behind me at all times
Yep,
that I can put on at any time. I wear glasses so I don't have to wear makeup. Like very easy, covers half my face. It really does get you so much further because I ran into a situation recently where someone that I was working with, people were making comments that they were coming like disheveled to calls. And I'd never heard that before. And now it's made me hyper aware because people do pay attention to it.
agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on the aesthetic, showing the best version of yourself, etc., I think you have to become comfortable talking about yourself. And this was also something that I was not good at whenever I first started my career and I didn't learn it until halfway through. But I feel like you have to be comfortable saying what you're doing, how it's benefiting the business, showing proof, but saying it because people don't know what you're doing. People don't know the success that you're bringing. And if you don't claim it, someone else will.
Yes, I'm bad about this still,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
so
also
hard.
yeah. I don't like talking about myself, which for as much as I like talking is a challenge, but I it also stems from, like, I think what makes a good leader is a good leader gives the success his team's success to his team and takes the failures and faults on himself. So I try to find opportunities to highlight other people's work. So, this one's gonna be, like, a little bit I don't know if controversial is the right word, but I think it's like being the person and because it's like you got to know when to say no, and maybe that's the like banner here if we're doing a bulleted list is knowing when to say no, but it's also knowing when to say yes. Like you can't be the person who says no all the time, meaning there are times that you are going to be have opportunities to do a stretch project or have opportunities to be the person who carries a little extra weight. Take those. Like don't always take them because if it's not helping advance your career and you just get seen as like, oh, they'll always pick up the slack, that's not a great place to be either. But you should also not be the person who shirks constantly, like shirks the work and sits in the corner and is quiet. Like you need to create your own personal brand. You need to create, I love the term of like spheres of influence, where
Right.
you show up and it's not just you're checking the boxes that are on your to-do list every day, but you're helping and benefiting other people and other organizations and making their life easier by extending yourself to help them.
Okay, hot take, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I think if you're early in career, let's say like first 5 to 7 years, you should say yes to everything.
Yes, I agree with that
Mhm.
mostly. And I'm again a person who struggles to say no, so maybe I'm
Yeah.
not the best person to weigh in here, but I agree with that.
But I mean, let's say it's even some random work that you're like, this isn't a part of my job, but then you get to learn a different part of the
I
business.
hate that phrase for the record.
This isn't part of my job.
Hate it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know. I think we are always going to do things that are outside of our jobs. And also, while we're here, even if it's outside of your job, nothing we do is like that hard.
No.
We're not saving lives. We're not being asked to carry in two bodies instead of one. We can do the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all related abilities where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I do job A and job B looks different, but pretty similar to job A. I can figure out the soft skills I need to develop for it, or I can figure out everything is on Google and AI now. You can figure out how to do a VLOOKUP or whatever the function is you need to do for this ask on your own. I promise.
Ooh, uh, career limiting factor, bringing more questions than you do solutions. That's a problem every day of the
All
week.
right, I'm gonna go the other way though. Being afraid to ask the dumb question, I think, is a career limiting move.
I agree. You have to read the room. You can't ask the dumb question to the wrong person.
Yes, but I think if you sit there with questions that you have and you
Mhm.
never speak up, or like, and maybe it's like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable asking it because you're in a boardroom with executives, that's fine. Take them back, ask your boss after the fact. But if you never ask them, they're never getting answered because everyone else is moving on thinking you know the answer
Yeah.
already. And I learned this from my former VP at ScanSource. She would always ask the dumb question. And now she had like a role and a title and stature that allowed her to do this. But I asked her in a one-on-one once, I was like, why do you always ask like you ask the lowest level questions? And I like don't mean that negatively. I'm just like, you always ask that. And she's like, because if it even crosses my mind as a thought, there's someone else sitting in that room who has it as a question and is scared to ask it. So she's like, I'd rather just put it out there into the ether than us sit there silently hoping everyone's on the same page. And I was like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. I wish more people led that way. Okay, this one I would love to know your thoughts on because I don't have a team, but you have a team. I think not learning and knowing how to manage up and manage out is career limiting, which is also it goes along with being able to speak about what you're doing, advocating for yourself, etc. But I think that can be super career limiting.
Yes. And it's like maybe the most important relationship you have is the relationship you have with your boss because it's a two-way street and I think everyone thinks like my boss is here to help, he's here to remove obstacles and guide me and craft my journey. You have to be able to manage up and like one, it's making your boss's life easier, but it's also setting expectations of where there are obstacles, where there are bottlenecks. And if you don't do that, they won't know about it at all.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing about advocating for yourself that you said earlier. where I do struggle, where it's like you have to be the one cheerleading for yourself at times because they have so many other things going on. And you don't see that until you start. Like, I recently, notably, my boss got promoted. Congratulations again. And now I report to a VP, and it's like eye opening how many things they have on their plate. Where, if I'm not telling him what's going on, he has no idea. And it's not his fault.
Yeah. That was some of the best advice that I got. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that if you wanna show that you can manage a team and manage people below you, you need to successfully manage your peers and manage your manager.
Yep. Great advice.
Yeah. Okay, bring us home. Give us one more.
I'm gonna put like an overall, just a general one here. Being the person who like takes a lot of PTO or like uses it all up early. Cause like, all right, we're an unlimited world. I get that. Like, there's no limit. But if you get like the reputation, and I'll like my wife and I work together at a company, and she, again, was 23, 24. We were young. Like, like, that was just like, oh, she's always out. She's always doing trips. And I think it's like a fun, like, it's a talking point. It makes you more interesting, but it's a tough brand to overcome when it's just like, because it's literally just acknowledging like you're not here a lot.
And you're not working a lot.
Yeah. And I think it's like, and I don't see this a lot, I guess, here, but like people who always will take a Friday or a Monday, like there was a guy at my last company who just didn't work Fridays. Like, that's a weird brand to have.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so wild. I think because I'm coming more from an early in career perspective, I think that's not something we get to do. I think we have to work more.
Yes.
Like you
But I feel that way still.
Yeah. Ian, write these down. You're going to bring them up next week. Whenever she says she doesn't want to talk, you have these lists of things to talk about.
No, I just like, I think I mean, I've been talked about other places, but it's like I grew up in a society that glorified attendance, and you got an award. Like, I won an award in 7th grade because I didn't miss a day of school.
Never sick.
And never sick.
I know. I think you have to be available for the first couple, however many years of your career. And also, it's so much easier now to take time and have space because we all work remote.
I just saw Alex saying, Ian, you got to be nice to yourself.
You do have to be nice to yourself. All right. To close us out, take less PTO, but take care of your mental health.
That's a good balance.
And go to your therapist. And
if you're a therapist, maybe show up ready.
Yeah, if you're a therapist, maybe be prepared. And we'll see you guys next week. See ya. If you like the episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time.
Thank you for listening.